Ultra Combo!
Hello. Welcome to the Impact Combo Hour, featuring myself and Jordan.
Hi.
And Zach, who's
Hi
behind the
over
camera.
You
And
said
Becky,
hi.
who is somewhat here, but also not somewhat here.
Here in spirit.
Here in spirit. Glad you guys could join us tonight. Tonight we'll be reviewing some memes,
Ooh, memes.
and we will be reviewing some memes. And after that, we'll review some more memes.
Ooh, more memes.
And after we're done reviewing those memes, then finally we can review some memes. So,
Memes on top of
lots of memes.
On top of memes.
I hope I got them all. If I didn't, then if I missed one of your memes, we'll collect it later. We'll catch it next time. I will say there were a couple memes I received that for some reason I couldn't open up or save onto my phone. So if that one doesn't appear, I am sorry. So there are a few missing, namely the Pinterest ones. So I know.
Pinterest memes?
Yeah, missing some Pinterest memes. I am sorry. I don't know who all these memes are actually from. Becky didn't tell me. So that's part of the fun of it. I have no bias to these memes. We're going to be reviewing them and reacting to them and just having some fun with them. So all of us can laugh together. So, before we go any further, let's go ahead and pray, and then we'll talk about today's message. So let's pray first. God, we thank you so much for this opportunity we have through the internet and through technology to meet together and continue to look into your word and also just have some fun together and hang out. And so, Lord, I just pray that you bless this time. Let's just have a fun evening, Lord, where we also learn a good lesson from reading your word and from looking at characters in the Bible who followed after you, Jesus. And just pray that you would again just speak to us all, that we this time encouraged and built up. Thank you for this, God. In your name we pray.
Amen.
Amen. Today's message. Today's message. Today's message. It's not working. Today's message.
Can I help you?
Today. I'm having a conniption.
Having.
Today's message. Today's message.
Yeah.
Today's topic.
Thingamabobber.
There it was. I didn't say topic. Dang it. Let's switch back.
Wow.
So, are we back? So, I said the wrong word. That's why I didn't work. We're off to a great
You
start.
didn't send the message
I
to
didn't
our
say
guy.
message. I said message instead of topic. Topic was the key word. He was waiting for the key word, and I didn't give it to him.
He's an obedient guy over there.
Well, today's topic is we're talking about what? No! Don't play it again. Oh no!
Yeah.
No!
Wow.
Today's topic is just Jacob. We're talking about Jacob, a guy in the Bible. We're continuing in our series, I Debated Myself, talking based off the meme of, I think his name was Justin Bailey.
I'm done. I'm done.
His name, I don't know his first name. I already forgot it. But his name was, there was an actor or something. I don't know who
That's
he
a
is.
video game reference there, Ty.
That was absolutely referenced the video game. I don't know who that is. I don't know who it is. So, it's a meme based off a guy named Jabaly.
There you go.
It refers to trolling someone. And it was this face this guy made where he's like,
Talk about memes for the day.
memes for the day. Oh, I think I just drowned myself in memes. It's about a meme about being trolled. So this is the series is about those times you accidentally troll yourself, where you make a decision, you make a bad choice, or you failed at something. Or, it's those decisions you make in life, those moments in life those decisions we make that, they mess us up. There's consequences for them. We're I'm falling.
Did you wake up on the wrong side of the bed this morning?
This is actually a live recording. This is the live recording of the breakdown.
Let's
of
call
a
this
man.
Jamated.
This is you're watching live. Just a man just crumbling,
Yes.
falling apart.
You were doing so well this morning.
I don't know what happened. I'm just falling apart. Maybe I need more coffee. Okay, so
Come on.
talking about those moments we make bad decisions and it messes with us, messes up your life. There's consequences. How do you deal with that? How do you move past it? Because we believe Jesus has made a way for us to move through these bad choices, to move through these decisions. It's part of our lives now. How can we work through it? How can we move forward? Or better yet, how can we avoid making future bad choices, bad decisions? So today we're talking about Jacob and his mindset that really kind of caused him some problems, okay? But before we get into that, it's mega game time.
Ooh.
This is the mega game. We're reviewing your memes. So here we go. Zach has the memes. I can only reference them just by what I see in the picture. So the first one, okay, so there you go. Let me pull up that one. Oh, they're right down there. So just go in order. So this first meme has Adam. Hey, do you like my leaves? They hide my sin. God, how did you know that was a sin? Adam. Nice. This is a nice meme.
Yes, bravo.
Yes, any meme involving Mark Zuckerberg is a good meme. That's a good meme. So I give this meme, personally, I'm going to give it...
But it's a nice Christian name too. So
I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
I give it an 8 out of 10.
I'll go 7.
7. We have an 8 and a 7.
Because I don't know what's ahead of us.
Okay, we have an 8 and a 7.
Yes.
Becky, if you could, would you be able to... I'll take note of it. I got it. You got it? Just take note of the ratings. Clap and a half. Clap and a half for the next meme. So,
Just the face
8 and a
is
7
what got me.
for the Mark Zuckerberg meme. So, you go to a party, and they have a dog that you don't know about. Oh.
That face though.
That face. When you go to a party and they have a dog that you don't know about.
That could be me though.
This is relevant to Becky for sure. This is Becky when she shows up at someone's house. Happened yesterday. We showed up to someone's house. I know you're not supposed to, but we were looking at a boat. Random. I know. We wanted a boat. Not a real boat. We weren't going to actually...
How is that going? Have you decided?
No. Up in the air.
Okay.
It's a decrepit old boat. It can't... It's literally up in the air. Yeah, it's supposed to be in the water, but it's not. It's a decrepit old boat that will probably never float again. We just want to use it as a playhouse because it's free.
It's never gonna float again.
Never gonna float again. What?
They had like 5 dogs.
They did. Yeah, they had a lot of dogs, and Becky was making that face. So because it's, I gotta say though, this meme though, it's not gonna give me a chuckle. It is relevant though, so I'm gonna give it a 6.
Just because it's him, it got me a chuckle. So
Okay. What do you give it?
I'll go. Yeah, 6 as well.
Okay, 2 6s. Okay. Next meme. Laughing at Corona memes like February, March 1st, last week, this morning, a little later this morning. This is very relevant.
I'm not a big fan of him though.
I don't
so,
know who he is.
Yeah. It all depends on the meme for Kanye West.
Yeah, I'm an old man, so like I said, I didn't even know who he is. But it is pretty funny. I don't know. I'll give it a 6 as well. Another 6, just because I didn't know who he was.
Yeah.
So
Is this a total score or
just the 2.
so yeah, so
Yeah, total
6
score per.
plus?
Yeah, whatever Jordan rates it. What do you give
Yeah,
this,
I'll
Jordan?
go with 5.
A 5. Ooh.
I'm
Okay.
not a fan of him.
Next.
Oh.
Oh no, this is one of my favorites. This Adam, this apple tastes great. Where'd you get it? Eve, the forbidden tree.
Wow.
Good meme. I give this one
Yeah, I'm gonna go with like an 8.
Yeah,
This
solid
one's-
8.
This one's yeah.
solid 8. Just a solid, tasty meme, relevant to what we talked about. Tasty in more ways than one. The apple tasted great. Okay, there you go. My next meme. Jerusalem, Mary, they've taken Jesus from his tomb. Simon, maybe they gave him up Jesus. Mary, what's up, Jesus? Jesus risen. Not much.
I,
That's pretty good.
You don't get it?
No, I get it.
Oh.
I just don't know what Jesus is saying.
Jesus walked in and he was gonna, and they hadn't seen him yet.
Oh.
He was risen. He's like, not much, and then he
Uh,
like,
what?
he would have said, not much. You.
That's hilarious.
I don't.
No, I get it. That's pretty
Yeah.
funny. So yeah, that's a good meme. That's a good meme. I give it a 7.
I'll go with die.
2 7s. Next meme. He protect, he attack, but most importantly, he multiplies snack.
Wow.
Oh
Hey,
no.
protect.
I don't know how I feel about this.
Solid meme.
It's a meme.
I have mixed feelings about this
Yeah,
one.
right?
This one actually got a laugh though.
That's true. I am laughing.
I'll
even
go
if
with
it's out-
7.
Even if it's out of discomfort, I'll be nice. You got me to laugh.
Hey, protect.
I would have rated it higher, but if it also didn't make me feel a little uncomfortable,
But you
I'll
gotta
give it an 8. I'll give it an 8.
I think it's the way
I
you
would have
say
rated it higher, but it made me feel a little uncomfortable. So there,
Maybe
that's still pretty
Jamaican
good.
say, you protect, you attack,
No.
and then he gives Nick.
Okay, next meme. Me, nothing really shocks me anymore. The internet. Does Mike Wazowski blink or wink? I mean, these are the memes that really get us thinking, asking us the deep and important questions.
It's because of the coronavirus.
it
Everybody's
really-
inside thinking about stupid
that
things.
really matter.
4. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I give it a 5. I give it a 5. Next meme. Oh no, I'm scared.
I don't appreciate
I don't
this
feel
one.
safe. When your dad tells you to come with him up the mountain to make a sacrifice, but he doesn't bring a coat. I mean,
That face, though. I'm gonna go with 6. The mouse is not appreciated. Sorry.
I have to give it a 4 because I'm not gonna sleep.
No,
all
that
night.
is not Chuck E. Cheese. That's creepy cheese.
That's an old Chucky.
I give
That's
this
Monsterilla.
I give this meme a 5 Nights of Freddy's out of 10, which is a 3. So, I'm sorry, it scared me. This a 5. I could rate it a 5 to fit the me. No, I give it a 3 just because it scared me. I'm gonna have nightmares at night thanks to this image. Cursed image. Cursed image. I didn't want to see old Chuck E. Cheese. Move on to the last meme. The final meme. No, Beck. I won't turn water into Starbucks.
What? I think that was
Fair
meant
enough.
for just Becky.
I think it was.
This is a good meme. There's a lot of something I wasn't pointing out before with these memes is like the range of application for them. If you like, you could like plug a lot of different responses into this, and it would be pretty funny. This is a fair meme, but it's not the kind that's gonna crack me up. So I give it a solid 7. It's just a solid meme. Solid meme. 7 meme.
I go 5. I didn't really get it.
Okay.
It's not for me.
Okay. There you have it. So the winner of the memes is it's a tie between who? Mark Zuckerberg and Adam. I think we need to break down which one's better. There has to be a clear winner. Show us the Mark Zuckerberg one more time. Give us the Mark. Give us the Mark Zuckerberg. Because he's scary. Hey, do you like... Okay, Hey, do you like my leaves? They hide my skin. How did you know that was a sin? My skin.
How did you know that was
How did you know that was
skin?
a skin?
Wow.
How did you know that was a skin tie?
How do you know what skin is? I never told you.
Well,
Sorry. Oh boy. They hide my sin.
now I just see skin.
How did you know that was a sin? I
Uh,
gotta say, I like the Mark Zuckerberg one more.
what's the other one?
So the other one was this classic.
Oh boy.
I mean, that face is great.
Yeah.
But I personally choose the Mark Zuckerberg.
I like this one.
Okay, so
I
it's
like-
still a tie then.
You want to know what the close second was?
What was the close
By
second?
1 point?
What?
I could say what
Attack.
mine.
He attacked.
You gotta say it Jamaican style. He attack.
No. No.
Come on.
Come on, he attack.
So it's still a tie. Sorry, there's no clear winner here.
I can tell you what.
Zach's gonna break. Zach's gonna be our tiebreaker. Who's the winner? Oh, good grief. He chose
No,
a
I'm
different.
kidding. It's Mark Zuckerberg.
Mark Zuckerberg wins. Congratulations, Mark Zuckerberg. You win nothing. No, really though. If Becky, who sent the Mark Zuckerberg one? Becky did.
Hey, you win.
I guess Becky wins. A hug?
Hey, if I get those for free.
$10,000.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry guys. I guess Becky won.
Good town's growing weed.
But good job. Thank you.
Can I donate it to the person who did send it?
Yes. Chloe.
Chloe, which one did she send?
She sent the Starbucks one.
Okay.
Ah.
She also sent pictures of
She-
you guys that didn't make it on there.
Ah.
Oh, yeah. I missed. There was some I couldn't get to for some reason. They didn't download.
Oh, is she
Okay.
the one that took pictures
So-
of us and made memes out of them?
So Chloe,
I appreciate
Becky
that,
has
Chloe.
donated her victory to you.
Yes.
Congratulations. You will receive your reward just as timely as Cameron has received his.
Wow.
Takes about 3 to 4 weeks.
Or years, give or take.
3 to 4 working days.
If you message me the address now, I'm gonna send it.
Yes, Cameron, message Becky your mailing address, and she will send you the prize you've already won.
Send it a mail.
Same, and Chloe, your prize will, yeah, send her your mailing address as well. Okay, send her your mailing address, and we'll send you an Amazon gift card.
Wah-her.
He wanted a Nintendo Switch point card. Okay?
Yeah.
Unless you prefer something different. If so, Chloe, hurriedly.
You know that was skin.
Hurry. I'll never survive this
Make
night.
a meme of that one.
Oh. What? I don't know.
Just a picture of Tiger. How did you know that was skin?
How much? Oh, Chloe, you won a $15 Amazon gift card. And Cameron's wasn't his 20? Okay. All right. His 20 switch point, $20 switch points, and Chloe's $15 Amazon gift card. Okay?
Perfect.
All right. Moving on.
At least trying to.
I'm trying to move on. I so dearly want to move on. This is the fall of a man, the breaking down of a man. That's all it took, and he's broken. I'm referring to myself in the third person even. It's sad. It's just sad. So it's story time with Ty and Jordan.
I believe this is a story in itself. Like, remember that one Wednesday where completely just almost goofy balls?
So we couldn't come up with a story.
This is the story right here. Just watch this tonight and you'll be
The
like, oh
story
yeah.
tonight.
You'll all remember this day.
I'll never forget.
Day that Jordan and Ty went crazy.
We sadly
What?
could not come up with a fitting story that we felt was adequate in sharing. The best I could come up with was a story I've already shared with you guys, and I think I've shared it multiple times that relates to what we're talking about tonight. And it was the time I got stuck on a four-wheeler because I was told it was broken down. It but I said, you know what, I think it will, and I drove on it anyways, and guess what, it broke down, and then I had to push it up a hill. Fun times. So that's the only story I could come up with, and you already know that story. So what fun is there in that? So sadly, I think we're just gonna have to move on because I just got nothing. I'm dry. I personally have a horrible memory of my childhood. I have very few moments I vividly remember, and so I have very few stories to share. I can be like, oh yeah, there's that one time I went to the water slides.
Yeah.
I can't tell you anything that happened there. I just know that I went. There was that one time I went to a library in Osuyas. That happened. Not a story. I have a lot of memories like that. That's about as far as they go. So, for today, I got nothing. Your story of the day is there is no story.
That's not lame. It's sad.
No, it is lame. What? I don't have my wallet. Okay, well,
That's sad too.
this is the sad night. This is the night where everything went wrong.
What?
It's fine.
We're
We're
looking
moving
for-
on.
Okay.
We are
I
moving-
tried. Sorry, Becky.
We are moving on again. No.
Today's topic. I want to thank you for
Oh boy. Okay.
Sure.
Okay, I should play again.
No. For it. We're getting out of here. Just where's the escape button? Can we just abandon? We need like a big red button here that just says abandon ship or something.
And then when you try to push it, it'll go boom.
But you just flash up the Windows has crashed. Internal
Windows has
system
crashed.
error. Boom.
Boom.
That's my brain tonight. Just boom. That's all it is. That's all that's left there. You know what? I got a story.
Oh.
All this has reminded me of
Oh,
something.
get the juices flowing by being
Yeah.
dumb.
By being dumb, I remembered something. I did. I did remember something.
Okay.
So, there was one time I tried to bake a cake.
Ooh,
Now,
it's gonna be exciting.
I don't know if you know, but I'm not a baker or a cook. I literally have burned salad. Jordan was witness to this on Easter. I put it in the microwave. I did burn it. Oh wait, it wasn't Easter, but whatever. I did burn salad. I put it in the microwave and I literally burnt salad. I couldn't eat it. It was gross and disgusting and ruined and turned into a big soppy mess and it was nasty. I literally burnt salad. I don't know how it happened. I have ruined mac and cheese. I can't make mac and cheese. Instant mac and cheese. The kind where you just open a packet and you dump it in. It's easy. Just follow the instructions in the box. I still ruin the mac and cheese. I can't cook. I just can't. I tried to make a cake for Dad. It was his birthday. I wanted to make him a chocolate cake. Becky couldn't do it because it was during the time Becky had foot surgery. So she was laid up, stuck to a wheelchair, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna bake Dad a chocolate cake. So I followed Becky's instructions. I followed a guide, and it was gonna be, I think it was a double tier chocolate cake. I mean, we're getting a little ambitious here already. Bad idea. Needless to say, what?
We were going to,
Right. It was just gonna be one big cake. I was gonna stack two cakes on top of each other. I've never made a cake in my life. I set out to make this cake,
Just
and
all of a sudden cake.
this all of a sudden cake, and everything was going pretty good
Okay.
until there came a moment where I had to put the two slices on top of each other. Everything fell apart. It crumbled. It fell apart. It was a disgusting mess. It looked hideous. The cake went from these beautiful square cuts to just this big pile of rubble, cake rubble, a pile of dashed hopes and dreams. And unlike now during this process, I'm getting really frustrated. And Becky's calling to me the whole time saying, Ty, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, Ty. And I'm getting madder and madder, saying, no, it's not okay. I ruined the cake. I'm dumb. I'm stupid. I can't make a cake. And I'm flipping out. I'm losing my mind over this cake that was ugly. Needless to say, we gave the cake to Dad anyways. It was ugly, but it tasted fine. So, in the end, it was okay. It was a serviceable cake because it tasted fine. It wasn't anything spectacular. It was just your average cake. But at least it tasted okay. It was ugly, though. It was really ugly. Needless to say, every time I've really tried to, I don't know, I'm not much of a, I kind of stay away from anything that if you mess it up, it's ruined forever, and the only way to fix it is to start over. I hate that. I hate painting for that reason. I feel like if you make a mistake, it's over. I know Bob Ross says they're just happy little mistakes and you turn them into other things. No, for me, it's a travesty, and I'm done and I throw the painting away. That's why I don't paint. That's why I don't cook. I don't do anything, at least from an artistic perspective, something to enjoy. I don't do it if it's something and then I have to start all over. That just ticks me off. I can't do it. But with the whole cake situation, I approached it from a pretty aggressive angle. I was just kind of pushing towards making this happen, even though there was no way it was ever going to work out because Ty can't cook, he can't bake. And I think I just made things more stressful for myself and everybody else around me. That is Becky at the time. Whenever you push for something aggressively, you just are really pushing to make something happen, you're gonna either trample over someone or you're gonna neglect someone.
Yeah.
That is the ultimate thing that's always gonna happen. You're either gonna just run over somebody or you're gonna ignore somebody. That's what happens whenever you aggressively push to make something happen. And our topic today, Jacob, is a story all about this happening. So, in today's episode of I Debated Myself, we're talking about just Jacob. When I say just Jacob, what I mean is Jacob, if he wanted something, he went out and he got it. If he had a vision or he desired to own something or acquire something, he always got it. He would do whatever it took. He would fight. He would wrestle. No matter what it took, he would get it. He would make it happen. He would make his dreams come true. He would make, he was just that kind of person. Just very driven. Mm-hmm. Always fighting, always wrestling for things. His story starts right at his birth. When Jacob is born, he's a twin. He has a slightly older twin brother named Esau, who's born first. That's why he's the older twin brother. He came out first. And when Esau was born, there was a hand holding on to his ankle, and it was Jacob. Jacob was holding on to his brother's ankle when they came out. Mm-hmm. So when Jacob came out, he was holding on to his older brother's ankle, and funny story, the name Jacob literally means ankle grabber. Yeah.
In what language?
The Hebrew, the original Hebrew or Aramic. I'm not sure which. I think it's Hebrew. But in the original language, it means ankle grabber. And that phrase is kind of a demeaning phrase. Mm-hmm. That means like you're the kind of person that like takes advantage of people. Mm-hmm. You're always just kind of grabbing at their heels, just trying to pick up after them or take advantage. That was right. Jacob. Jacob was an ankle grabber. He was the kind of person that he would take advantage of people if he could. And just right away, there's a little time skip in the Bible, skips right ahead to Esau. He's out hunting. He's a hunter. He's described as a hairy wild man. He's a bushy wild man. He's got a beard like Jordan's, possibly even longer. Probably. He probably has like moppy, curly, like afro hair, I imagine, for whatever reason. He has hair so thick on him, his clothes stick out about this far. I actually knew a guy like that in college. It was kind of disturbing. He doesn't need clothes. Yeah. He was born with clothes. Sweater. He was born with a sweater. Esau's a hairy man, and he's a hunting man. He's a manly man. And the thing about this type of manly man is when he wants something, he also gets it. Mm-hmm. If I need this, I'm going to get it. I'm going to do whatever it takes. So he comes home from a long day of hunting, and he sees Jacob. And Jacob's a bit of the way he's described, he's more of the pretty boy type. He's more meek, he's more clean, and he's at home cooking. He's cooking while Esau's out hunting. And Esau comes home and sees Jacob making some stew, making some soup. And Esau's like, give me some food, I'm starving to death. I'm literally going to die if you don't give me food.
Pass out.
He's a little over dramatic. And Jacob says, well, if you want this soup so bad, why don't you give me your birthright? Why don't you just give to me your inheritance?
Oh.
And Esau's like, dude, I am literally dying of hunger. If you don't feed me, I'll die. And Jacob just goes, well, what can you do? And so Esau is like, he's so crazy, and he's just so desperate, and is so in the. His mom was probably at home. His dad was probably at home. They probably had other friends nearby. He could have asked for food from them, but he's just the kind of guy that just is so in the moment. He's like, yeah, sure, here, have my inheritance. I want some food.
Oops.
Kind of a dumb moment there.
Yes.
And so Esau was bitter towards Jacob from then on. And Jacob's just kind of like, man, I got his inheritance, and all it took was a bowl of
Handing out
soup.
birthright like money.
All it took was a bowl of soup.
Yes. It's like on like a little credit card.
Yeah, just
Swipe.
hand in some soup and you get your inheritance.
Yeah.
Pretty good deal for Jacob.
Yeah.
So, first instance, strike one. Strike two, Jacob, Jacob's mother overhears that Esau is about to receive his inheritance and a blessing from his father. His father's going to pray over him, bless him, and give him all these great things and put all these promises over him. And then, of course, while Esau's out hunting, Jacob sneaks in because his dad was blind and old and crippled and kind of probably losing his mind a bit at this age. And he creeps in and he has like hair. He has like some hair from an animal, some like skins on him.
Yeah.
And then he's like, hey, it's me, Esau. And his dad is like, you sound like Jacob, but you have really hairy hands, so you must be Esau. I think his mind might have been going. I don't know.
Well, of course.
He was old and bedridden and blind. Poor guy. So
You're in that stage.
so he gives all these promises to Jacob, and then Esau comes in and goes, what? You gave them to Jacob? And he's like, well, sorry, son. I heard you. There it is now, not yours. And Esau's just, and then Esau's like, I'm going to kill him. I'm going to kill Jacob. I've had enough of his shenanigans.
Yeah.
And so Jacob flees, as you would. He flees to his father-in-law, and he starts to pay a price for his
Shenanigans.
sneaky, underhanded ways. Yeah, his shenanigans, his chicanery, his tricks and wiles. He starts to pay a price. He got away with it, so he thought. He did, because he did get what he wanted. Mm-hmm. He got a birthright. He got promises. He got a future. He got inheritance. He got all of these things, but there was still a price to pay for it. He was banished. His brother now hated him and wanted to kill him, and now he's living with his uncle. And his uncle turns out to be a bit of a manipulator himself.
Guess it runs somewhere.
Guess it runs in the family, because his uncle then says, "Hey, you're my
favorite.
We're related, right? You know, if you work for me, I'll give you whatever I want." Now, this was a different time and a different day. I gotta qualify this. This is thousands and thousands of years ago, and I guess back then it was okay to marry your cousin.
Ooh. Never right, actually.
Apparently, it was okay back then, but it was a smaller world.
It's true.
Different times, I guess. So, Jacob kind of had a thing for his cousin Rachel. As soon as you say cousins, it just gets creepier.
Yeah, you're just like, oh, but that's back then.
Okay, well, Jacob had a thing for Rachel, his uncle's daughter, and his uncle said, "Oh, you can have her if you work for me for 7 years." So Jacob does. And then his uncle gives him his older daughter and says, "Here, have her instead." And Jacob's like, "What? I'm in love with Rachel, though." Yeah. And long story short, Jacob works for his uncle Laban for like decades.
Wait, what's his name?
Laban?
Laban.
Is it Laban? No, I'm second guessing. If I had my Bible right here, I'd correct myself.
We'll just go with Laban.
It's either Laban or Laban. It's something like that. Sorry.
I wasn't second guessing you. I was just like, oh, that's an interesting name.
He has an interesting name. I thought it was Laban.
We'll just go with interesting name.
Okay. His uncle. Either way. Man, I'm batting 1,000 today.
I like Laban, so we'll go with Laban.
Laban. His uncle.
Check your Bible, but we think it's Laban.
His uncle manipulates him and gets basically Jacob to work for him for years, decades pass. And eventually it gets to the point where Jacob has been working for him for so long, he's now married to 2 women, again, different time. Oh, yeah. He's married to both of his uncle's daughters. One of them, Rachel, he likes. The other one, Leah, he doesn't like. And so she gets neglected and hurt. And Jacob just wants what he wants, and he ignores her, and he honors Rachel. They have all these kids. Rachel only has one, while Leah has like child after child. I don't know. It's crazy. There's all this sister drama starts where they're like, oh no. I don't know. It just gets ugly. It just gets
Sounds
worse.
messy.
It's a soap opera. It turns into a soap opera. And eventually it gets to the point where Jacob's sick of his uncle. And he's like, you know what, guys? We're leaving. We're going to sneak away while he's out on a hunting trip. We're leaving. And so while his uncle's out and about, Jacob packs up everything because he's gotten rich from working with his uncle.
Right.
But it is still technically all of his uncle's stuff. He packs it all up and says, we're leaving. And they leave, comes home, finds that Jacob's gone. He's like, I'm going to kill that. I'm going to kill that.
So everybody wants to kill him.
Everybody wants to kill this guy.
Yeah,
It's like, he took my daughters and all my sheep. He took everything from me. I didn't officially give it to him.
I'm more mad about the sheep.
I'm more mad about the sheep. Apparently I don't care that much about his daughters. Kind of, yeah.
Just pawning them off.
I guess so. Like, if it worked for me for 7 years.
Sheep are like money back then, so I mean.
It's ridiculous. This story's ridiculous. He pursues Jacob, and he would have killed him if suddenly God didn't intervene. God steps in, talks to Jacob's uncle, and says, hey, you better not kill him. Don't do it. And so the uncle listens. He listens to God, and he does catch up with Jacob, and he says, I would have killed you, but your God showed up, and he told me not to, so I won't. I'm just going to let you know I'm really ticked that you tried to sneak away.
Right.
And eventually they do part ways on decent terms. Not good terms, but decent terms. They part ways. Yeah, there's just a lot of other shenanigans go on and just craziness.
It doesn't stop.
It doesn't stop. Because just when you think finally things might be turning around for old Jacob and everything's working out after he's pushed to get all he's wanted. He's worked for his uncle for years. He's got the wife he always wanted, and he's got all these riches, he's got all this wealth. All of a sudden he hears from his servants that Esau, his older brother, has found him and is coming for him with 400 men.
Oh.
Jacob, of course, freaks out. He panics. He's like, my brother's going to kill me. He's finally going to kill me. And so he's like, I'll just send a lot of sheep and stuff his way, and maybe it'll pacify him by the time he gets here. So Jacob's still trying to manipulate the situation.
Right.
He's still a manipulator. He's still just trying to make everything go his way. So he sends all this stuff forward while he hides out with his family. And eventually even he sends them forward ahead of him. He's the last. What a coward.
Yeah.
He stays
Take
behind.
them, not me.
He stays behind alone at the camp while everyone else goes ahead of him.
Puts a pot over his head and hides.
Basically. And he's just sitting there alone in his camp. It says he's just sitting there alone. And it says all of a sudden, a man shows up. Just nothing's described about the man. Just says a man shows up, and they start wrestling. I don't know.
He just picks a fight with some random
Just
dude.
picks a fight with some random.
Just like, hi, can I share your...
This man shows up. I don't know.
I just wanted some ketchup.
I don't know how the exchange began. Like, was there a hello, how do you do? And then did they start wrestling? Or I don't know, but it just says a man shows up and they start wrestling. I don't know if Jacob was
There's
just.
no content to that at all.
I don't know if Jacob was just sitting there and all of a sudden this guy just goes, ah! And times on him. I don't know.
It's just his story.
It's just Jacob's
Leave
story.
it. Okay.
He starts wrestling with this man. And they wrestle all night long.
Oh, jeez.
They're just fighting each other, duking it out. And finally the man says, let me go. I've had enough. Can't you see the sun is shining? And Jacob says, I'm not letting go until you give me something.
Oh.
And the man reaches over and he just lightly touches Jacob on the hip, and his hip just like totally dislocates. Just goes boop. Jacob's lip and hip just goes poof, out of place. The man stands up and is just like, Jacob says to the man like, who are you? What's your name? And the guy's like, why should my name matter to you? And then the guy asks Jacob what's his name. So he says, I'm Jacob. And then this passage comes up in Genesis chapter 32. Genesis chapter 32, starting with verse 28. The man says this, your name shall no longer be called Jacob, but Israel. Now here's where things suddenly get interesting, plot twist. For you have striven with God and with men and have prevailed. The man disappears, and Jacob says, "I've wrestled with."
There's gonna be a whole bunch of Jesus wrestler
We
John
can-
Cena memes
No.
now.
What have I done?
You can't see me.
Are you sure about that?
Are you sure about that? Sorry.
No, it's he wrestled with Jesus. He wrestled with God. The same bet we can say is Jacob wrestled with God. So this is right in line with Jacob's character. So from start to finish, basically Jacob. What's Jacob? Jacob. Again, this is the fall of the man right here.
How'd you know it was skin?
What are frogs?
What are frogs? I'm losing my mind. Jacob, he always fights for whatever he wants.
Right?
If he wants something, he's gonna fight for it. He's gonna aggressively pursue it, no matter what it takes, no matter who he has to run over, no matter who he neglects.
Right.
We've already seen that he's willing to run over his brother to get what he wants. He manipulated his brother, he cheated his brother, stole things from his brother to get what he wanted. And then when it came to his own family, he married 2 women, but one of them he didn't love, so he ignored her. But she's still his wife, and her whole life she's saying, maybe now he'll love me now that I've given him another. And you get to see this woman's just broken. Leah's just this broken, sad woman who wants her husband to love her, but he doesn't. And it's just a tragedy. He's neglecting her because he's pushing for what he wants, and he doesn't care about anyone else around him. Jacob always fights for what Jacob wants. So this may seem strange in this moment, and I want to put this in context, this passage we just read. When God tells Jacob, "Your name shall no longer be called Jacob, but Israel, for you have striven with God and with men and have prevailed," what God is telling him is this. Listen, you have wrestled with me, and you've wrestled with other people. But you've endured. You are still here. You are still here. But here's what I tell you now. I'm going to name you Israel instead of Jacob. You're not going to be an ankle grabber anymore. You're going to be an Israel. Now, when we hear the name Israel, we think of the country now. But this is before the country existed.
Right.
This is before Israel was a nation, before they were God's chosen people. Before God's chosen people, there was Abraham and his descendants. Jacob is one of Abraham's descendants, so we know Israel is going to come from him, and now you see where the name comes from. Israel literally means this. It's in its original context and meaning, God fights. Can you see the change here? All his life, Jacob has done the fighting. Now God's saying, I'm the one that fights now.
Right.
You need to stop trying to fight your fights on your own. Stop trying to claim this for yourself, get it your way, and let me do the fighting. It's a change of dynamic, a change of perspective. Because here's the thing. We're going to get into a little bit of a breakdown. Let's get into a little bit of a breakdown of Jacob's story. I'm going to pull up my notes here so we can follow along on the screen. I just want to make sure I do that right this time. Which one's? There it is. Okay. Gotta wait for it. Gotta wait for it to load, apparently.
Now loading.
Okay, here we go. So let's break down what Jacob's dilemma is. So Jacob's dilemma is this. Jacob only thinks about Jacob. Just Jacob. All of us are wired this way. Our natural tendency is to think about ourselves first. I mean, why wouldn't you think that way? It's your perspective. You see the world through your eyes. You hear things with your ears. Smell things with your nose. You know, it's all from your perspective. So we see the world from. We are at the center of our reality. We just are. It's just the way each person sees things, and it's our natural tendency for life to be just about me, and everyone around me is either an accessory or someone to get out of the way. And just think about it. Think of like when you were in school, the kind of people you talked to versus the kind of people you didn't talk to. Why didn't you talk to someone? It didn't benefit you.
Right. Yeah.
Why didn't you talk to that person well, now it's because we're quarantined and we're not supposed to talk to people. No, before that, we're going back in time a little bit here. Before this all happened, we didn't talk to them because why would I? What benefit is that to me? They're scared.
They're
I don't know. I don't care to talk to them. I had a long day. I'm stressed out. See, there's always this weight of
Right.
like, if it doesn't benefit me, then why should I bother? So you can, I know that's a small thing. That's kind of seems like a petty thing, but that's a small example of how that expresses itself.
Right.
We're just about ourselves. And Jacob's dilemma was that he was just about Jacob. So that means he was going to fight his own fights and get what he wanted. We're the same way. Where when we want something, or when we need something, or I don't know, whenever we desire something, we're going to fight for it. We're going to pursue it. We're going to chase after it.
Right.
And the problem is usually people either get neglected or run over when we're pushing for what we want.
Right.
Someone is going to suffer. Someone is going to hurt when we're fighting for my way. When I want my way and I'm focused on getting what I want, someone is going to suffer.
Yeah.
I know this is a bit of a bad example just because we're in different stages of life, but I'm married, and I would be neglecting Becky as my wife and spending time with her if all I cared about was getting what I wanted and doing what I wanted. Like I'm just
Right.
it's my time to play Animal Crossing New Horizons, and so I'm just going. And if that's all I do, and I'm just focused on getting what I want, I'm neglecting her. Like, let's say she asks me to do the dishes, and then I don't do them. This probably has happened before. Because I was focused on what I wanted, which causes her strain because we all need to work. We need to work together. We're a team.
Right.
You may not be married, but you have friends, you have family, and when we're just focused on what we want, what I can get, we neglect others. Or we run right over the top of them and we use people. How many of you ever manipulated someone to get what you wanted? You either made them feel bad or you made them feel trapped, like they had no choice but to give you something or say something or to do something for you. Or they try pity. Have you ever had someone try pity on you? Or maybe you've had to try to get someone to pity you so they do something for you. That's manipulation. Thing to break down. The result of Jacob's decision.
Well, wait. What did he want?
What did Jacob want?
What was his goal before he wrestled with God? I mean,
It's-
Jesus.
It seems like Jacob's goal, but just looking at everything he pursued, it never directly spells it out. Just saying.
Okay.
So this is me running off of more of like an analysis. It seems like Jacob was really obsessed with being wealthy.
Okay, that was his.
I think he
strive.
wanted wealth, and I don't think he was so much like I want to be the richest man in the world. I think it's like, you know what? I want to be well taken care of,
Yeah.
and I want to have a good family. I want to provide for my family.
Right.
You know, that seems like noble things,
Right. Yeah.
but the way he went about it,
Was all.
that's where things get crooked.
wrong.
The ends do not justify the means.
Yes.
And you see it in that his family suffered. And that brings us to the result of his pursuit of what he wanted.
Yes.
And that's that because Jacob ran over Esau, ran over his uncle, and neglected his family,
Right.
his oldest sons later, this ties into another story in the Bible. Are you familiar with the story of Joseph?
Yes.
Joseph, he had dreams, and he was one of Jacob's sons.
Oh, okay.
Joseph was. Joseph, you know, if you've seen the movie, it's old now, so I don't know if any of you have seen it, but it's called Joseph, King of Dreams, or whatever.
Right.
Prince of was it King or Prince? Whatever. It was a movie by DreamWorks. You can look it up. It's not a bad
Oh,
movie.
Yeah. Is that where they're all square? And
Yeah, they have very angular faces.
Yeah.
The faces are very boxy.
Yes.
It's a good movie. It's not like the greatest thing you'll ever see, but it's a good movie.
It's a classic.
It of course adds a couple details to make things interesting because it's a movie.
Yes.
But anyways, Joseph is Jacob's son, and if you know the story of Joseph, all of his brothers try to kill him. And then the oldest one's just like, no, guys, we probably shouldn't kill him. How about we just put him in this pit for a while and make him feel bad about himself? And then they wind up selling him off into slavery instead. So much better than killing him.
Good brothers.
Selling him off into slavery. They have problems. This is because of Jacob. Jacob affected all of his kids. There's also a story where one of the kids, where the kids murder a whole town. That happens. Two of his sons go out, they slay a whole town. Now, it was because the town raped one of their sisters. So, I mean, the town was messed up. But I mean, that's still kind of extreme to go out and kill everybody because one guy did something bad.
Yes.
They were a bit aggressive, like their dad. Took things a little too far, like their dad.
The whole town.
Yeah, the whole town.
Okay.
Yeah, a little extreme.
Yes.
And the way they did it was very sneaky. We don't want to go into the details right now just because I don't want to distract.
Yep.
But if you want to look it up, it's in Genesis. But, you know, all of his kids were a little affected by this. They were a bit poisoned by this. What you do affects people. The result of making this decision to pursue what you want, even if it's a good pursuit, like again, the pursuit of being well supported and and having a good and having a family, that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
But if you just are focused on getting what you want, you're going to run over people and you're going to neglect people, and it's going to hurt people more than you think it will. I doubt Jacob ever once thought this was going to have a big time impact on my future. Never once. But it did. So that was the result. So next, why we debate ourselves. Why do we then troll ourselves? Why do we do this? Right? Why do we do this to ourselves? Well, the main reason is we want things our way. If we're not careful, though, our desire for what we want can become greater than people. When your dreams are greater than the people around you, you are in trouble. You are in danger of of debating yourself, of trolling yourself, of making a mistake, of making a bad decision, and hurting yourself and the people around you. You can't. It's so easy, especially when you're young, to get really focused on, like, this is my dream, this is what I need, this is what I want. But if you're too focused on that, if you're too focused on just having your way, it doesn't even have to be dreams. Like, I just want to sit around and watch TV today. I've had a long day. I'm tired. I'm stressed. I had school. If you're not careful, this pattern of behavior can start to have long-term consume you and affect your family, your friends, and it will affect your future.
Yep.
And you don't want that. Because I mean, let's move on to the solution. Let's go ahead. So that's why we debate ourselves. Let's look at how we get through this. So Genesis 35:12 says this. That's fine. Genesis 35:12 says the land. So this is later on. God meets with Jacob again and says this to him. He says, the land that I gave to Abraham and Isaac, his ancestors, Isaac's his dad, Abraham was his grandpa. God says to Jacob, the land that I gave to Abraham and Isaac, I will give to you, and I will give the land to your offspring after you. Now, you might wonder why I chose to share this passage with you. Notice that God is saying, I will. He doesn't tell Jacob, you will conquer, you will achieve, you will grab, you will fight. He says, I'll do it. Remember, Jacob's name was changed to Israel, which means God fights.
Yes.
God says, I'll do it. Let me do it because my way is better. I will do this in such a way where it's not going to hurt all these people. When we let God fight, He knows everything around us. He knows how to move through things and how to move us through situations in such a way that it doesn't have to hurt and crush people around us. It doesn't have to make us neglect people and push people away. When we let God fight our battles, when we let God lead the charge in our lives, things just work out better. Things just work out so much better when we let Him lead the way. When we try to push for things our way, when we're just determined to achieve something, even though we might have no idea what we're doing, or I don't know, we're just so aggressive about it, you're just gonna hurt people or ignore people, and it's gonna hurt you and others in the long run. The solution is Jesus has rich promises for our lives. We have a future in Jesus, set aside for us, and He gives us a Holy Spirit, a Spirit that leads the way. When we believe in Jesus, He gives us His Spirit, and He leads the way to this better life. So we need to stop being so aggressive and take pause if you just keep pushing for something to happen, or you're demanding of your time, like saying, no, this is my time, I've earned it, I need it. It could be as simple, because I know this is sharing from just personal daily experience. I love my mornings. I wake up at 5 a.m. because I love the morning. Some of you think 5 a.m. is horrible, but I love 5 a.m. I'll confess, front and center, full disclosure, I get really mad if I lose that morning. And sometimes Madeline has a rough morning, because she's a baby. Sometimes she's having a bad time, and sometimes it's rough. I'll confess I struggle with getting a little ticked off. Not necessarily at her, it's more the situation. Because she's a baby, it's not her fault. But I can't let my desire for my little morning where I can sit and just be quiet, I can't let my desire for that hurt her. And you see how just a little thing, just a tiny thing, when someone interrupts you when you're painting, or when you're playing your game, or when you're just enjoying a hobby, and you just get so, like this righteous indignation.
Yep.
That's the sign right there that you're walking that road of where it's just about you. You're so focused on getting what you want that you're missing out, and you're going to hurt someone else for no good reason. You see this a lot in a lot of families. This happens in where maybe some of you guys know what I'm talking about, where someone comes home from work and it's been such a long day. Your initial reaction is just because it's a long day. And I'm telling you guys this now because you're young and you can prepare yourself for this. When you come home from a long day of work, and maybe you guys even remember this from coming home from school, your natural inclination is, I just want to rest. I don't have time to talk. And of course, because you're tired. It's a real feeling. But if you're not careful, your need for getting your time might cause you to neglect. And you got to be watchful for that. Your main indicator that this is happening in your life, that you're becoming self-centered, your main warning sign is when you're neglecting the people around you, or you're manipulating the people around you. Because on the flip side of that, maybe to get what you want, your main tendency make people feel bad. Like you'll be like, oh, I'm going through such a hard time. And you'll say all these things, and you know, if you admit it, you know the reason you're saying them is so that someone will say something to you, or you'll elicit a certain response, or
They'll do something for you.
or they'll do something for you. That's
attention.
You want attention. I learned as a kid that if I was just very much like, oh no, I'm fine, don't worry about me, I could manipulate my mom to do things for me. If I was just very sweet about it, oh no, it's fine, I don't mind, it's okay, I could get her to do things. See, that's not okay either. Because I'm manipulating her, which is the manipulation is you're using them. Or you're using that person. You're turning that person from a person into a tool, into a resource, and that's messed up.
Don't want to do that.
So we don't want to neglect, and we don't want to use. And it's so easy for we just slip into this naturally. All of us do it.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying you're being malicious and you're like, like, it's not like, it's just, you got these tiny little decisions we make can stack up, and pretty soon we can wind up like Jacob, or we wind up hurting a lot of people. Now, because God is faithful and God is big, God still worked in Jacob's life. Jacob came around in the end, but there was a lot of hurt caused from his earlier years in life. So right now, I just encourage you guys to start thinking like, okay, am I neglecting anyone? Am I using anyone? Or do I just see the people around me as a tool, as a resource to get what I want? Is it all about me? Because if it's all about you, you're going to do yourself a disservice in the long run. You got to watch out for that. You will debate yourself.
Yes.
And you're going to look back and be like, man.
And you become something ugly.
Yeah.
You become an ugly, grumpy little creature.
And all I can pray for it is that maybe God will put your hip out of place to teach you a lesson. It apparently worked with Jacob.
I hope he doesn't tackle you. If it comes to the point where he tackles you, you might have problems.
It's gone too far. that is the good news of Jacob's story. God is so faithful, and yeah, it wasn't fun, but God did get his attention. God has a way of getting our attention. And sometimes he has to use extreme measures, and in this case it was wrestling.
Yeah, maybe he is wrestling with you. Maybe not so much in physical, but maybe mentally.
Yeah, sometimes we wrestle with God in other ways, and
Maybe.
I would encourage you to let God fight your fights.
Yeah.
Learn to pull back. Learn to let go of what you want and just let go. Sometimes we think if I never fight for what I want, I'll never get it. That's okay. Trust me. It's so much better to just lean back and let God do the fighting. Let God be the one that moves forward instead of feeling like you need to charge forward. You need to lead the way. You need to have the initiative. You need to fight to get what you want. Learn to just pull back. You'll be kinder to the people around you. You'll be more loving to and it'll take time.
Right.
I guarantee you'll still deal with some frustration
Yeah.
and not always having your way. We all want our way. I want my mornings. Sometimes I gotta let them go.
Yeah.
Sometimes we just gotta learn to let some things go. It's good for us. It's good to say no to yourself. It is so healthy. And sometimes the best way to say no to yourself is like, I can't relax right now. I need to spend some time with my family. I need to. I should contact my friend. I haven't talked to them in a while, and we're separate. I haven't seen them in all this time. Maybe I should reach out to them and encourage them. Maybe I should call this other youth student, this other friend of mine. I don't know. There's so many ways we can go about this, and learning to move beyond yourself is huge, and it's hard. It's not an easy road, but it's a road worth taking.
Yep.
And I know God will bless you as you start this journey. And I just want to say right now, I don't want you to just sit here and feel bad about anything you may have done in the past. That's not the point here. If all we do is sit around, when we feel bad for ourselves, that doesn't accomplish anything. I just sit and be like, man, I've goofed up. I ruined everything. I'm such a failure. That doesn't do you any good. That just makes you miserable. That's not how God wants you to feel either.
Right.
When God's working in your heart, what he does is he makes you feel guilty, and then you feel a need for change. God makes you like, oh my goodness, I can't live this way. It's almost like there's an excitement to when God works. Like, I can't live this way anymore. I have to change. You're not sitting there feeling bad for yourself. You're sitting there going like, this is unacceptable. This is not okay. God, I am sorry.
Spring cleaning.
I am changed. This is, and you're active. It's when God is convicting you, it's inspirational. It's moving you forward. Sometimes there might be tears and some hard, like if he's really convicting you of something, but it always leads to you moving forward. If we're just feeling sorry for ourselves, that doesn't do any good. So I don't want any of you sitting around feeling bad for yourselves or feeling bad because you may have used someone or neglected someone. I would just encourage you in this time to instead think, like, God, how can I move through this? I want you to be my fighter. I want you to fight my battles. I'm tired of trying to fight and always get my way. I'm going to pull back and I want to let you do the leading here. And that, in a nutshell, is the lesson we can learn from Jacob, who debated himself,
Big time.
and how we can move past these things and work through them and move into the life that Jesus has planned for us if we just let him lead the way. So let's pray together.
Right.
Jesus, we thank you for this time that we've shared together, Lord, and I thank you that there's good things ahead of us. Lord, right now the world is kind of scary, and there's a lot of people saying a lot of scary things, but God, you're in control. And no matter what happens, you'll be with everybody. You'll be with us no matter what happens. You're always good. You're always in charge. And so, Jesus, I just pray that you would help us to step back, and I pray that you'd help all these young people and their families to step back and think, how can I let God lead the way? I'm tired of leading the charge. I'm tired of aggressively fighting for my time or what I want or having my way. I'm going to step back, and I'm going to let you lead, God. Lord, I pray that you just give them the courage to make that step, and I ask that you would bless them in that decision and give them strength, Lord. It's a hard choice to make. And I just ask, God, that they would really grow in you and be encouraged at the life you have for them, Jesus. Lord, I pray that you would convict all of us in those moments to stop being so selfish and instead pull back and realize we're hurting people, we're hurting ourselves, and this isn't okay anymore. We need to stop just pushing for ourselves and just thinking about ourselves. We need your way, Jesus. And your way involves loving other people. So, a lot of times more often than ourselves. But God, I know from experience it's in that place where we grow, where we flourish, and where our lives become full and meaningful. So Jesus, I just pray that you would work in each of our lives and just build up everybody this week, God. I ask that they would just have a wonderful week, Lord, and that they would just be encouraged. And I thank you again, Jesus, for this time we've got to share together. And just pray again that you would be with everyone through the rest of this week and that we'll see each other again next week. We thank you for this, Lord. In your name we pray. Amen. Thank you guys again for coming out today. I'm sorry that I am a mess. I don't know what happened today.
Hey, but we got through it.
We did. I woke up today ambitious, determined. I was working on things right away, and I just don't know what happened. Some days are like that. Maybe it's the fact I have 3 canker sores on my tongue.
Ooh. Well,
Probably too much
you
information.
should have opened up with that.
Just
Felt
first
sorry
words out of my
for you.
mouth. I have 3 canker
Yes.
sores on my tongue, and I'm miserable.
Then we would have actually been sorry for you, not like, oh, he's just.
I
being
could have
silly.
manipulated you guys just
Yeah,
to,
there's the
to
manipulation.
feel
You could've
sorry
pulled
for
it.
me. I know I could have pulled those strings, and I didn't. See, it's because Jesus.
Yes.
I turned around and you look so. No, but anyway, I hope you guys are still. Has anyone sent you in ideas for the Olympics, Becky?
Olympics?
No, we haven't gotten one idea. So that means we all forgot. All of us. Jordan even was like, well, the Olympics.
Yeah, I'm not even told about these things.
Send to Becky ideas for an I gotta start from the beginning.
And I'm your neighbor.
We are preparing a fun little activity where all of us are going to be doing an activity together separately. As weird as that sounds. So I want you guys to come up with ideas of things that anyone can do in their home, and we're all going to try to do these little challenges. They're like little challenges. Come up with challenges that each of us can do in our separate homes. That, you know, it has to be something that someone else can do. You can't be like, build a certain structure in Minecraft, because not everyone has Minecraft.
Yes.
It has to be pretty universal. Just come up with a certain challenge that you think everyone else could do, and then we'll all come together and we'll make an Olympics out of it and see who does the best in each of these challenges. But you need to send Becky your ideas for challenges.
Can't build efficiently.
Probably not that one. I can't do that. Maybe stack up a tower of Legos, pillows. I don't know. Who can run?
And there's that Lego tower we were talking about. Ties in.
Yeah, I can build a Lego tower.
Word.
Well, hey, I don't know. See if you can eat a whole bucket of pudding. I don't know. Probably not that one. Becky,
I'd win.
No, Becky would win. Well, you know, just some fun challenges. Get creative. Come up with some clever ideas. Please send those in to Becky, and we'll have some fun with that when we get enough of those collected and put together. Be a fun little activity for us to share in. Again, if anyone's interested, I don't know who all has Minecraft, but we do have a server up. We've played it a couple times. I'm still trying to get on a little more regularly. I know Cameron and I are on there the most. I've been on with Caleb though. Jordan sometimes joins me and we all hang out.
I didn't talk to you about that.
Okay. And but if you guys want to join the server, just message me or Becky and we can get you plugged in. It's just a fun way to hang out and connect. And I don't know, you guys can chat with each other. You don't always have to play with me. You can literally go on the server at any time. So if you have Minecraft, unless, sadly again, if you have Minecraft on Switch, you do have to have a Nintendo Switch Online account, which is a bummer. And I still feel bad, even though I apologized for it last week. I still feel bad. Oh yeah. Right. If you have it on a console, you have to pay for that console's internet, which is a bummer. But if you do have that service or you have it on the computer, feel free to join us. It's just usually pretty low key. So, in any case, thank you guys for tuning in, and we miss you guys. We love you guys. We're praying for you all, and
Do miss you.
we just hope you are taking care. Take some time to read the Word this week. Spend some time in prayer. This Sunday, I know it's going to be for all ages, but if you want to join in, there is a Zoom connection opportunity after service this Sunday at 12 p.m. 12 p.m. this Sunday, we're having a